The Dauntless. To call it a good day for Admiral Cistern was an understatement. Yes, there had been a political slam dunk on Serbo that the Empress had personally thanked him for, giving the Undaunted an even firmer ally than before and showing many people just how much they can benefit from humanity. Not only were they testing the first few null-capable tugs to allow his plans for Dauntless-class ships to become fleet builders, but he had even better news. Answers had come from Earth. Lance 03 had breached the edge of cruel space and broadcasted ahead, and he had a response from his sons. So many questions and numerous complaints about their mother, a borderline report of what they've been up to, and even a few blessed pictures scanned in. How Linda had gone from such a sweet-tempered and self-sacrificing woman to an entitled witch still confused him. He still wondered if he had done something wrong. Of course, he can't actually find a smoking gun for any mistake he made. He just did his job and took good care of her, and it all fell apart. But back to his sons. Peter was aiming to be a surgeon. There were long years ahead of him, and Edmund had been playing around in a small band with his friends. They had no performances, but they were mostly just a bunch of kids playing around. They liked music, but not enough to make a career out of it. They'd also gotten his message. They knew they were still very much wanted and weren't totally sure. Leaving the planet wasn't something to be done lightly, and there didn't seem to be much way back if things went wrong. Both valid concerns. Concerns he's addressing. It's likely a few years away, but he will have his sons. But to do that, they needed a way to get them through cruel space with ease. He had spoken to the lab boys about this, and they had several different avenues of study. Unfortunately, just replicating the current axiom-based suspended animation wouldn't work. It relied far too much on the fact that most races with axiom would in fact be sustained by it as well. In fact, it encouraged it so heavily that it even worked moderately well on humans, albeit the person coming out would be groggy and ravenous compared to the average galactic citizen. Still, it was data, and it was important. Every failure was just another step towards the right answer. Every setback just revealed another avenue of attack. Straight-up suspended animation and cryogenics both had major downsides without axiom as a major boost. So they were thinking of a combination. It would make waking up miserable, but an hour or two of being cold and uncomfortable was better than months and months of nothingness, at least in theory. There was a lot more testing to do before this idea was ready for human trials, and the real test would be in cruel space itself. Still, his sons were not lost to him. They still wanted him as a father. His time as a husband may have stumbled and failed, be it due to his own choices or otherwise, but he had at least succeeded as a father. "You seem to be in an excellent mood, sir. I take it your son's message went well?" "It has indeed, Philip. My elder boy is going to be a surgeon, and my younger has a proper head on his shoulders, appreciating music and its great value without deluding himself. He's not the Jimi Hendrix, and he knows it, so he's simply using it to stay good friends with his friends." "There are certainly far worse distractions for a young man his age than music," Sir Philip remarks. "It also gets him consistently out of the house and away from Linda. How a woman that sweet could turn so sour is beyond me." "Sir, you know as well as I that sometimes you can do everything correctly and still fail. You made the best choices you could at the time, and it didn't work. Sometimes that simply happens," Sir Philip noticed. "True enough. Speaking of, how have your own communications been? Good news from the family, I hope." "Indeed. Although I'm not there to give the proper stink-eye to my granddaughter's latest paramour." Sir Philip notes, and there's snort of amusement from Admiral Cistern. Because heaven forbid that a young man goes unglared at. "Well, pardon me, sir. I happen to have a very beautiful granddaughter." "Ah, the classic problem in patriarchs. You want beautiful daughters and granddaughters, but you're not the only one that appreciates the beauty." "Indeed, sir. Indeed." Sir Philip agrees. I'm not entirely certain of this. Captain Smith is a generic name clearly covering up an actual name. No doubt there are many upset individuals on Earth whom think our report to be exaggerated. They're coming to either confirm the truth or deal with us. Sir Philip says, and Admiral Cistern nods. As I thought. They've reported Captain Lake as alive and well, but I have some doubts. I hope I'm wrong, but we will have to act as if Earth itself may be hostile due to subversive elements that take the facts of the galaxy at large as personal insult. Admiral Cistern considers, and Sir Philip nods. Indeed, sir. In your professional opinion, how many of our new crew will be assassins and how many will be spies? It honestly could go any way imaginable, sir. In truth, they only need one of either. Nations paranoid of subversion tend to be the types that spy on others, including their spies, to attempt to understand what they understand. There are also those that believe that a single agent is sufficient for any task, grossly underestimating the capacity of their opposition. I've had run-in with some individuals that believe so deeply in the rightness of their mission that they assumed it simply must come to pass and did not even conceive of failure. I see. We're going to have to scan the Lance a few times and search it top to bottom for stowaways and unregistered cargo. Hopefully a debrief in a semi-public area so they can simply look around and verify what I'm saying will suffice in defusing this bomb. If not, there may be some ways around this. We are still technically in control of a few organizations that we've not fully informed as having been beheaded yet. Many of them have gone underground longer than the time span since we dealt with them. If we need scapegoats, then we have them, sir. I understand. Hopefully it won't come to that. But if wishes came true, we would all be in very different places, would we not? I'm fairly certain at least a tenth of the crew would be the greatest rock stars to ever live simultaneously. Sir Philip remarks, and Admiral Cistern does not snort, but it is a near thing. So we have to prepare for our guests. Providing that nothing goes wrong, they will be here in a week. We best put our EFL agents on standby to ensure that they have rescue nearby should anything happen. There's no doubt that the unusual ship has been noticed if it hasn't been outright observed exiting cruel space. After we emerged into the galaxy at large, there's no doubt a fair amount of attention being drawn there. There is, sir. The design and build of the Lance-class vessels are known. Few people understood what it was for, but it was indeed observed entering cruel space without slowing down. Now they're observing it exit cruel space. It will not take long, if it takes any time at all, to realize that it's a null-capable vessel of a smaller class than the Dauntless. Hopefully, with it being considerably smaller than the Dauntless, it will be able to avoid notice for a time. I sincerely doubt being targeted by slavers and pirates will improve the disposition of whatever observers have been sent to assure that things are going well. Admiral Cistern notes before pausing and thinking. Although we could not pay for a better demonstration of the way the galaxy is than some random horde of alien women swooping in to take them as slave husbands before being rescued by our men. It would certainly illuminate the need for the undaunted and verify all the information we sent them. Such things leave a trail, sir. They're also rather prone to backfiring on top of the retaliation when they get found out, when, not if, false flag operations are very, very difficult, especially without professionals. Of course, professionals have their own habits and hobbies that can give them away as well, Sir Philip warns. It was just a thought, nothing more. Although we should have our loose-leash agents along the galactic lanes, alerted to the possible need to rescue or escort should the worst-case scenario occur. Admiral Cistern notes, "Is the chain-breaker still mucking about at Octaron Spin?" "Yes, sir," Sir Philip says, and Admiral Cistern smiles. They would be perfect. A small growing force with the humans clearly in charge and undoubtedly have benefited from the galaxy at large. They will have stories enough to fill entire libraries about the dangers and benefits of the galaxy, and with something very rare, an alien male to confirm things one way or the other. Admiral Cistern considers out loud. Not to mention there are numerous different alien ideologies interspaced among them. These Crimson Hewers are akin to a cross between mercenaries and the Mongol hordes. Miss Powercoil is a proud member of the Synth Ascendancy, which is an excellent and understandable starting point of alien religions. Sir Philip encourages the line of thought. It's a good one. They also reported having an absurd amount of captive criminals, which will be a good way of showing how untamed much of the galaxy is and give them a visible demonstration at the sheer amount of alien life and the predominance of women among alien races. Admiral Cistern continues considering the situation further. In truth, he's already made up his mind, but it's best to continue to consider things even after having decided on a course of action. A previously unconsidered fact may crop up after all. Do not forget, sir, that they also have numerous weapons and tactics they can demonstrate in order to show numerous advancements. The sheer amount of looted laser and plasma weapons on top of the modified variants they availed themselves on board the space station would be a boon. Add that to the unusual mission report they had sent me. If they have recordings of such, then there's a good chance that the observers being sent would be ready to believe almost anything by the time they arrive. Very good. I can think of little reason to not contact the Chainbreaker with their new mission. Can you, Sir Philip? No rational or non-paranoid reason, sir, Sir Philip says with a bit of a sniff, which means yes, but the utterly absurd can still happen. Let's hear them regardless. The group is racially mixed, and there may be someone with enormous prejudice in the observation team. While possible, the chances are unlikely. Furthermore, I don't think a racist will favor an alien over a fellow human, so that will likely blunt the impact. There's also the chance of personal scuffles with them. Several of the Chainbreaker had military or legal-aimed careers before all this began. Mr. Engel's entire family is drenched in German politics. Mr. Bravo left high school to go right into the military and become a very skilled but very arrogant pilot. He may have been one of the best, but they were very much getting rid of him. Mr. Brown has received an acquittal for arson. There is no confirmation, but Mr. Chabalal has apparently been part of an underground fighting circuit. Any one of them could have enemies from the past, but the likelihood is effectively non-existent. Sir Philip lists off as he pulls out his communicator and quickly confirms that he has all the facts straight. Notably, his pronunciation of Chabalal is spot on. And there's more, as I recall. I understand. Personal gripes and prejudice. Thankfully, those are things we thoroughly know how to deal with, Admiral Cistern says. It appears I have a call to make. Before I do, though, may I assume that the rumor mill already has the entire ship aware of the approaching Lance 03? Oh my, yes, sir. The entire ship is quite aware. No doubt that means it will be tonight's headline here on Centris. I look forward to finding out where the latest leak is and expressing my displeasure at such sloppy operational security. Try not to have too much fun. You may strain something. Admiral Cistern teases and gets a dry look from the older man. I'm just looking out for your health. Of course, sir. Thank you for your consideration. Sir Philip just takes it with a bit of a smile. Incidentally, have you read the report on your desk yet? Admiral Cistern looks to see a report on his desk that was not there when he stood up and turns back to find Sir Philip gone. He is unsurprised by either event. Have I gotten that predictable? Sir Philip asks from behind him and out of his peripheral vision. You like to pull off your magic tricks when you're frustrated or bored. I apologize for the cheap shot.